The Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by BASF.
Hey, Carrot Rooster here with RealAgriculture.com. I am back here today with another Pulse School episode, and I have here with me Nevin Rosaasen, who is the Sustainability and Government Relations person with Alberta Pulse Growers. How's it going today?
Very good, Kara. Good morning.
So we're here today to talk. It has been a drought year across the prairies. We're no stranger to knowing this. However, we're at the time of the year that you're staging your pulses for different desiccations, and with a drought year, there's often different stages going on across the field. What can you tell me about that?
Sure. Certainly this year there's been a lot of challenges with the lack of rainfall, the heat, and also a combination of the high daily temperatures and a lot of wind. So in southern Alberta, a lot of the pea and lentil harvest is already complete. Certainly we've had reports of very low yields in lentils, sub 5 bushels an acre, peas too, between 10 and 15 on a lot of fields here in southern Alberta. Currently I'm standing in a dry bean field, and under irrigation, different story. Dry bean production looks like it'll be on par for average yields. Certainly going north in the province, we've had a lot of issues with peas, a lot of secondary growth, and it's been difficult to stage. A lot of producers have been reporting one pod that's green and several pods below that are already mature. So it does represent a challenge for staging.
So what do you do in that situation?
So in that situation, if you are going to be using a desiccant or a pre-harvest aid like a glyphosate and a tank mix combo, it's important to ensure that every part of the field that will be sprayed is below 30% moisture content. And certainly the Keep It Clean website has some staging guides on there for producers so they can ensure that they do not run the risk of exceeding an MRL or a maximum residue limit. Certainly with faba beans are indeterminate, so they'll continue to flower right into September. So there is still time to make a good informed decision on a desiccation or pre-harvest weed control product. Another issue that we're having is a lot of cracks in peas, even prior to harvest. So peas will be, usually you can run between 5 and 10% seed coat cracks or so forth with harvest, but this year we're seeing upwards of 15 to 20%. And a lot of those peas are actually cracking prior to harvest this year, which is something we haven't seen before. So certainly that represents a challenge as well. Again, the most important thing is if you are trying to make a decision on whether you need to dry down that green material on the top of the plant prior to harvest, that you ensure that you are below that 30% moisture limit.
Now, of course, just to reiterate, why is it important we're below that? We're looking at those MRLs.
Right. So if the crop is not below 30% moisture, and that is specifically the seed within the pod, then as the plant receives that herbicide or desiccant, some of it can be allocated into the seed while it's finishing or filling. So if you're not below 30%, what can happen is you can have residue in the seed, and certainly, you know, these residue limits, maximum residue limits are set for the trade. So that means for international trade. By no means does it affect the acceptable dietary intake, which would be a human health concern. Those are orders of magnitude higher. So again, this represents a potential risk for the trade and the international sale of pulse crops as well as cereals and oilseeds, and it does not represent a human health risk. However, you know, using these products in a safe and responsible manner is on the producer's shoulders. So it's important that you understand the staging prior to choosing a pre-harvest weed control product or a desiccant. And again, we recommend you check out the Pulse MRL living document that resides within Keep It Clean to ensure that the products you're using are accepted by your buyer and international marketplace.
Now, do you want to talk about the importance of walking throughout your whole field and really understanding that there could be some really green areas and some drought?
Absolutely. We always see it in depressions where the crop may be a little more lush, it might be a little later maturing. So if the majority of your crop is ready to go, we recommend using that desiccant or pre-harvest aid, and then perhaps returning later on, or even swathing out the low spots. It is a bit of a pain, but it is the right thing to do.